Bill on anti-party hopping to be tabled, appreciating our national artists, and the official FIFA mascot revealed. Those are the headlines for tonight. I'm Hendy Gui and this is TVS Nightline. Every resident office in Sarawak is urged to propose potential tourism products in their respective division to be elevated as an annual tourism event in the state. Minister of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts, Dato Sri Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah said the office plays a crucial role to boost the tourism sector in the state.
Karim said, following the state government's decision to reopen the state borders, there will be an increase in international flights to the state. As such, he hoped that with the reopening of borders, it will give a positive impact to not only the tourism industry, but also on the state's economy as a whole. Adding to that, Karim said the Divisional Tourism Task Group, DTTG, and the resident offices had been advised to take the initiative to plan and distribute related information and details to be refined by his ministry.
Dan di sinilah harapan kita adalah untuk pejabat residen dapat mengangkat, memaklumkan kepada kita dan apabila kita ketahui dan melihat bahawa produk itu boleh kita aturkan, kita akan aturkan fasilitinya. Jalan raya pergi ke tempat itu, bilik air untuk pengunjung dan sebagainya. Dan dari situ baru produk itu boleh meningkat naik. Di Sarawak memang banyak sekali. Baiknya waterfall, baiknya gua-gua, baiknya tempat extreme sport ataupun tempat untuk mendaki bukit, kerana itu adalah antara sukan-sukan ataupun riadah yang amat diminati oleh pengunjung-pengunjung pada hari ini. Jadi
he said so when met by reporters at the Entrepreneur Preparation and Financing Program on Saturday. In addition, he said that the ministry, through relevant agencies, will continue to be committed to carrying out tasks and efforts to promote tourism, arts and cultural products in the state of Sarawak.
Now, a bill on anti-party hopping at a special parliamentary sitting is expected to be tabled this coming April 11th. However, this would be subject to a decision by the Cabinet on April 6.
Inilah kali pertama dalam sejarah Malaysia bahawa dalam satu penggal kita bertukar 3 Prime Minister. Dr. Mahathir pada awal bulan Mei hingga bulan Mac tahun 2020. Lepas tu Tan Sri Muhyiddin. Selepas itu ganti dengan Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri pula. Jadi kita tak laratlah lagi nak tengok tu. Jadi oleh kerana itulah makanya undang-undang ini digubal begitu rupa.
He said so when asked regarding the issue of party hopping involving members of parliament recently. A total of 39 members of parliament have switched political allegiance since 2018. Wan Junaidi added that this has led to political instability in Malaysia, with the country witnessing 3 prime ministers being appointed in a single parliamentary term. As such, the government had drafted the Federal Constitution Amendment Bills 2022 on anti-party hopping.
Saya cukup yakin dia akan dapat laluan di parlimen.
In another development, Dato Sri Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar said the Malaysia Agreement 1963 or MA63 Special Committee will discuss providing Sabah and Sarawak autonomy in education matters, as autonomous powers will enable both states to implement and speed up educational development projects, as hoped by citizens in the state.
Dia punya proses macam ini ya. Sarawak mempunyai satu jawatankuasa yang diurusi oleh Ketua Menteri iaitu Premier, dan di Sabah dia juga mempunyai jawatankuasa yang diurusi oleh Ketua Menteri Sabah, dan keputusan oleh jawatankuasa ini akan dibawakan kepada jawatankuasa di Kuala Lumpur. dan jawatankuasa yang pengurusi oleh Perdana Menteri, yang mana dua Chief Minister ni akan hadir bersama. Dan selepas itu baru mereka membuat keputusan.
At the same time, he said that Sarawak is in the midst of establishing several special schools and he is confident that it will receive support from the federal government.
Tapi apa yang berlaku di sini ialah dia tak perlu dia hanya perlukan penurunan kuasa daripada pihak kerajaan pusat. Jadi pandangan saya tidak ada halangan besar sangat untuk menurunkan kuasa sedemikian. Bahkan Sarawak telah membuatkan satu keputusan untuk mewujudkan sekolah tertentu di negeri Sarawak, dan saya fikir tidak akan ada buat bantahan daripada pihak federal berhubung dengan perkara tersebut.
He said so in a media conference after the launch of Bank Rakyat microfinancing counters for traders and small business owners 2.0. Hard work and sacrifices made by artists nationwide must be appreciated and their art to be protected at all costs. Petrajaya Member of Parliament Dr. Sri Fadila Yusuf said this is important because the works of artists such as the late Tan Sri P. Ramlee, Dato Sudirman and Dato Siti Nurhaliza are still heard and remain significant to this day, even though it has been more than 20 years.
Citing our national treasure, Allahyarham Tan Sri P. Ramlee as an example, Fadila said artists plays an important role in the development of the creative industry and nurturing moral values among our youths.
Cerita-cerita beliau, walaupun kadang-kadang secara berseluruh, tapi memberi pengajaran begitu besar dan mendalam kepada masyarakat kita. Kalau kita amati banyak cerita-cerita beliau. Dan sebab itulah saya kira seniman ini memainkan peranan penting dalam mencorak nilai budaya kehidupan masyarakat kita.
Fadila, who is also the Senior Works Minister, said so in the Sembang Warung program organized by the Department of Information Malaysia Sarawak in conjunction with the National Artist Day in Kota Semarhan on Saturday. He added that artists and art activists in Sarawak should not miss the opportunity to apply for any form of art funds allocated by the National Film Development Corporation Malaysia, FINAS.
Sebab itu saya kira terima kasih kepada FINAS yang telah pun menyediakan dana bermula 1 April ini, dan diharapkan ramailah artis-artis ataupun seniman-seniman kita, penggiat seni kita di Sarawak ini akan mengambil dan merebut peluang apa yang telah disediakan untuk membantu mengembangkan bakat-bakat mereka ataupun hasil-hasil kreatif mereka.
The program, organized by the Department of Information Malaysia Sarawak branch, was held to strengthen the relationship between artists of various art genres, as well as to appreciate their contributions to arts and cultural activities over the years.
Now, Sarawak carries a significance in ensuring food security in the country. As such, the Agriculture and Food Industry Ministry, through the Federal Agricultural Marketing Authority, will upgrade 15 business areas in Sarawak.
Its Minister, Dr. Ronald Kiandi, said the upgrading works involved an allocation of 7 million ringgit under the 12th Malaysia Plan, adding that the effort was hoped to provide comfort to traders and visitors.
Berada di ladang sawah padi di Seri Aman, Petang Lupa, dan melihat banyak lagi yang perlu dilakukan. MAFI akan terus mencuba untuk mendapatkan dana bagi pembangunan infrastruktur yang diperlukan untuk industri padi beras di negeri Sarawak. Jadi usaha ini akan merupakan satu usaha yang berterusan, dan kerjasama antara kerajaan persekutuan, jabatan dan agensi persekutuan bersama dengan kerajaan negeri dan jabatan negeri.
He told this to reporters after conducting a working visit to Medan Niaga Sato here today. Pharma will continue to help improve business facilities and structures throughout the country, including in Sarawak. Besides playing its role as a marketing agency, Pharma will also strive to create a comfortable business environment for all quarters.
Saya dimaklumkan bahawa some 7 million peruntukan dalam rancangan Malaysia ke-12 untuk menaik taraf 15 Dewan Niaga di seluruh negeri Sarawak ini sepanjang RMK 12. Jadi Pharma akan terus menyumbang untuk menambah baik struktur perniagaan di seluruh negara termasuklah di Sarawak ini. Dan usaha ini akan diteruskan dan Pharma akan terus memainkan peranan sebagai agensi pemasaran yang bukan saja membantu peniaga pengusaha tetapi untuk mewujudkan satu suasana perniagaan yang selesa bagi semua pihak.
Medan Niaga Sato is a joint venture project between Pharma and the Sarawak state government to create a market with a modern, clean and systematic concept equipped with the latest waste management system. The 46.6 million ringgit commercial area, which provides 995 business lots, commenced operations on January 1st.
A special committee will be formed to manage dependencies on imports and at the same time strengthen the country's food security.
Minister of Agriculture, Modernisation and Regional Development, Datuk Sri Dr. Stephen Rundi Utom said the formation of the special committee will be done with joint efforts with the federal government. As such, he said that discussions on collaborations have been made through discussions with Minister of Agriculture and Food Industry, Datuk Sri Dr. Ronald Kiandi.
We need to have more frequent meeting and also engagement with the past. As we have discussed earlier, we want to create our own so-called like a task force, more or less, so that we are able to iron out something that we need.
Rundi also added that through the 12 Malaysia Plan, his ministry has received a total allocation of 617.9 million ringgit from the state and federal government to develop projects for the people. Out of the total, 52.5% was allocated by the federal government to further strengthen Sarawak's agricultural sector. In line with this, Sarawak is making efforts to increase domestic export to support the country's food security mission.
Now, the body of a mechanic who fell into the Batang Rajang River last Thursday has been found on Saturday morning. The deceased, identified as Lim Wee Sin, 49, was found floating at 9:20 a.m., about 3 meters from where he was believed to have fallen.
Acting Chief of Cebu District Police Superintendent Dr. Colin Babat said the search and rescue operation was carried out since day one of the incident, which is a collaborative effort by the Search and Rescue Team, Fire and Rescue Department, Royal Malaysian Police and the Marine Operations Force. Following the discovery of the body, the search and rescue operation ended at 9:30 a.m. In the incident at Jalan Upper Lanang on Thursday, Wee Sin was attempting to jump onto the ship where he worked when he fell. The victim's friend said they had seen the victim surfacing for a while before disappearing underwater. Baba launched a search operation on the surface of the ship on Thursday, and scuba divers were called to aid in the search on Friday. Meanwhile, the case has been classified as sudden death.
Welcome back. Now, Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah and Raja Permaisuri Agong Tunku Hajah Azizah Aminah Maimunah Iskandariyah are undergoing self-quarantine at Istana Negara after being confirmed positive for COVID-19.
Comptroller of the Royal Household for Istana Negara, Dr. Ahmad Fadil Shamsuddin, in a statement said, Al-Sultan Abdullah is undergoing quarantine until Thursday, April 7, while Tunku Azizah until Friday, April 8. Ahmad Fadil said their Majesties consented to undergo self-quarantine in line with the protocols and standard operating procedures stipulated by the Health Ministry for COVID-19 cases with no or mild symptoms. Ahmad Fadil said that in conjunction with Ramadan, Al-Sultan Abdullah called on his subjects to always be vigilant and to practice self-discipline, even though the country entered the transition to the endemic phase yesterday. He also urged the people to pray for Their Majesty's speedy recovery and long-lasting health.
Malaysians can now return to almost normal life after the country entered the transition to endemic phase yesterday, which also saw more restrictions eased. The independence enjoyed today came after the people were forced to limit their activities due to the implementation of the Movement Control Order MCO, which came into force on March 18, 2020.
The cooperation of the people in complying with the standard operating procedures SOP set by the government and the national COVID-19 immunization programs success have enabled the country's transition to the endemic phase. The success was also achieved through the leadership of Prime Minister Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, who managed to help Malaysia deal with the surge in COVID-19 cases and solve the political crisis plaguing the country. Although Ismail Sabri is not the UMNO president, he managed to gain the trust of 114 members of parliament to be appointed as the 9th Prime Minister, with the hope that he would put an end to the country's political polemic, as well as steer the nation out of the COVID-19 pandemic and revive its economy. Apart from his success in uniting the people through the Keluarga Malaysia or Malaysian family concept, Ismail Sabri also invited the leadership of opposition parties to join in the country's recovery efforts. The Prime Minister had also come up with a Memorandum of Understanding MOU on transformation and political stability to ensure the smooth running of the country's administration and the people's welfare remain protected. After 7 months of leading the nation, Ismail Sabri's leadership was evident when the country achieved political stability and its economy recorded a positive growth. With a successful implementation, as well as the political stability achieved, Ismail Sabri announced that the country will go through an exit strategy and a temporary phase before fully entering the endemic phase, subject to the announcement by the World Health Organization, WHO.
Prime Minister Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob's second visit to Indonesia, which concluded today, succeeded in bolstering the existing strong social and economic relations between the two countries. The close ties between the two leaders were obvious when Ismail Sabri was invited to a veranda talk with President Joko Widodo for an up-close and personal session with the Indonesian president at Istana Merdeka for about 30 minutes. Meanwhile, their commitments to manage the affairs of the people were proven in the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding for the recruitment and protection of Indonesian domestic helpers in Jakarta on Friday, April 1st. The MOU is significant to enable the entry of Indonesian workers into Malaysia in specific sectors including plantation, and for Indonesia to ensure the protection and welfare of its citizens based on the laws of the two countries. At the same time, the Prime Minister also disclosed that Malaysia had ratified Protocol 29 of the International Labour Organization ILO, which was a commitment of Malaysia at the international level to eradicate the issue of forced labour and to give protection to Indonesian migrant workers. With the reopening of the border yesterday, April 1st, Ismail believed the move could reunite families in the two countries who have been separated due to measures to curb COVID-19. Now, the government is hoping for a swift decision by the Saudi Arabian government on this year's Hajj quota for Malaysian pilgrims. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Religious Affairs, Dato' Idris Ahmad, said this would facilitate early preparations in terms of hotel accommodation and transportation.
Commenting further, Idris said those listed have already been informed to be on standby. He told this to reporters after handing out Ramadan contributions to the local community in Changkat earlier today. For the record, the usual Hajj quota for Malaysia prior to the pandemic was 32,000 people.
Now, the strength of Benteng will be increased with additional members if necessary, following the reopening of the country's borders starting yesterday. Chief of Defense Force General Tan Sri Afandi Buang said the entry of illegal immigrants into the country through illegal routes was expected to increase following the reopening of the economic sector and employment opportunities. He added that every officer and personnel of the control unit at the country's borders had been informed to be on alert and to increase surveillance. As there is an expected increase in the entry of immigrants, the Malaysian Armed Forces and border control will continue to be tightened. Now on to some global affairs. Actor Will Smith has resigned from Hollywood's Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. The actor was quoted as saying that his violent behavior towards presenter Chris Rock on stage at this year's Oscar ceremony was shocking, painful, and inexcusable. Last week, Smith left the audience open-mouthed as he strode up to the stage and slapped Rock across the face after the comedian made a joke about his wife. The actor then returned to his seat but shouted obscenities at the shocked comedian. It was unclear whether Rock was aware that Pinkett Smith had alopecia, a condition that causes hair loss, when he made a reference to the 1997 film G.I. Jane, in which actress Demi Moore shaved her head. Half an hour after the astonishing attack, Smith was awarded the Best Actor Oscar for his role in the sports biopic King Richard and made a tearful speech as he received the statuette. There have been conflicting reports in recent days over whether Smith was asked to leave the ceremony, with the Academy saying he refused to go. The group said this week it was starting disciplinary action against the actor, only the fifth black man to win the movie world's highest individual award for a man, and warned he could face a rare expulsion. David Rubin, president of the Film Academy, said Smith's resignation was accepted, but the Academy would continue with disciplinary proceedings. The matter is due to be discussed at the group's next board meeting on April 18th. Now, FIFA has revealed images of LEOPARDS, the official mascot for the Qatar 2022 World Cup on Friday, April 1st. LEOPARD, an Arabic word meaning super skilled player, is described as a flying character who is ageless and full of warmth, energy, and positivity. Hailing from the mascot verse, LEOPARD's form is of a traditional Arabian shawl that is fashioned from square scarves and usually made from cotton. LEOPARD, a football fanatic with close ties to the host nation, hopes to bring the joy of football to everyone, everywhere, when the FIFA World Cup arrives in Qatar, and wants all to believe in his mantra, "Believe in yourselves, as now is all." Dublin Zoo's red pandas and snow leopard were treated to a new, more familiar habitat on Friday, April 1st. The zoo's Himalayan Hills enclosure was unveiled by Irish Deputy Prime Minister Leo Varadkar after a delay caused by the coronavirus pandemic. Zoo director Christoph Switzer said he was extremely grateful to the Irish government for providing a €2 million bailout after the zoo's financial reserves were hit during lockdown.
After a long build period that was disrupted significantly by the global pandemic, we had to stop mid-build in 2020, and we could only resume building them in 2021. I'm very grateful to the Irish government for helping us with.
With the gates now open again, visitors will be able to view the red pandas and snow leopard in something that closely resembles their natural environments.
Yeah, the animals are settling in well. We've tried to recreate the wild habitat in the Himalayan hills. Both species live quite high up. In case of the snow leopards, up to 5,000 meters on these very steep rocky slopes, which you can see here in the habitat as well. We've tried to use the topology of Dublin Zoo.
Schweitzer said designers used the zoo's natural topography in an attempt to recreate the steep rocky slopes of the Himalayas and provide a more authentic setting for the animals. And that concludes the Nightline for tonight. With that, I'm Handy Gui. Stay safe. And on behalf of TVS, I would like to wish our viewers a happy Ramadan.